Hello students, I Dr. Sneha Tiwari will be discussing with you all about abnormal uterine bleeding, dysfunctional uterine bleeding and its Ayurvedic correlation. So starting with the lecture. First, abnormal uterine bleeding. What you all understand with this? This word itself defined means if there is any kind of abnormality in the menstrual cycle, menstrual bleeding, that is that bleeding coming from the uterus. So it is defined as any kind of abnormality irrespective of cycle length, duration of flow or amount of menstrual bleeding, that means the volume of menstruation. देन इट इज़ अ वेरी कॉमन गायनेकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम और ये आपको आपकी गायने ओपीडी में हर दूसरे तीसरे पेशेंट में ये प्रॉब्लम मिलेगी। तो जब हम एबनॉर्मलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं हमें एक एवरेज नॉर्मल रेंज भी पता होनी चाहिए, जैसे कि मेंस्ट्रुएटिंग डेज़ की नॉर्मल रेंज वी ऑल नो इट इज़ 4 to 6 days, बट अगर वो 2 दिन से कम है या 7 दिन से ज़्यादा है दैन इट विल बी कंसिडर एज एबनॉर्मल यूट्राइन ब्लीडिंग। Then normal average to be remembered is 30 to 35 cc, but if it is less than 20 cc or if it is more than 80 cc then we will consider it as abnormal. Then in respective to length of the cycle it is less, the normal range is 21 to 35 days. इस बीच में किसी की भी cyclic है that will be considered as normal, but if it is less than 21 days or if it is more than 35 days then that will be considered in abnormal uterine bleeding. So when we talking about this, in a brief we take the what is the normal physiology of menstruation so we can better understand about the abnormality. So see this diagram gives us the clear picture of the normal physiology of menstruation, and we know the whole normal physiology of menstruation works on completely on HPO axis, that is hypothalamus, pituitary and ovary, the hormones secreting from this and how they are working on each other or working on the uterus. So we know hypothalamus will secrete GnRH, which will further what do, it will secrete FHS and LH from anterior pituitary, जो कि जाके फिर फर्दर आपके ओवरीज में काम करेंगे. एंड नाउ व्हाट टू FHS इनिशियल स्टेज पे FHS ज़्यादा निकलेगा and LH will be in less amount, and that more amount of FHS will stimulate the प्रीमोर्टिकल फॉलिकल्स इनटू चेंजिंग इनटू ग्राफियन फॉलिकल्स. अब जैसे जैसे ग्राफियन फॉलिकल्स बनेंगे वो ईस्ट्रोजन सिक्रीट करेंगे और LH को इनिशिएट करेंगे और FHS को इनिबिट करेंगे. they will inhibit FHS and will stimulate LH. So जब estrogen और LH आपका peak पे जाएगा, when this will happen, जब premenstrual size will be completely converted into Graafian follicle and are in maximum size, means 18 to 20 mm का जब Graafian follicles बन गया, that time estrogen and LH will be at peak, and at that time only that Graafian follicle will be rupture and it will convert it into corpus luteum and will secrete the oocyte, जो कि oocyte आके fallopian tubes पिकअप कर लेते हैं एंड फर्टिलाइजेशन के यूज़ होगा. अगर फर्टिलाइजेशन के यूज़ नहीं हुआ तो वो एट्रोफी में अपने आप चला जाएगा, और जो अब आपका कॉर्पस ल्यूटियम बना है वो प्रोजेस्टेरॉन सिक्रीट करेगा. सो दिस इज हाउ ईस्ट्रोजन एंड प्रोजेस्टेरॉन आर सिक्रीटिंग फ्रॉम ovary, and what they are doing, this estrogen and progesterone are only working on uterus endometrium and forming the secretory phase of the endometrium for the secretion at the time of menstruation. So during menstruation we know this endometrium is only secreted, is shaded. So this shaded endometrium is the normal menstruation, and this is about the normal physiology on hormone, on what days of which phase is occurring, like follicular phase, then luteal phase, at which days hormones level is more and which days the hormones level are less, which hormones are more, which are less, how they are working on uterus and endometrium. Okay, so this was just a brief of menstrual cycle physiology. Then coming to next is menstrual abnormalities. What kind of menstrual abnormalities are there? So they are like metorrhagia. What happen in the metorrhagia? There will be bleeding between the period, and that is a cycle irregular bleeding. means irregular acyclic bleeding will be there, but in these cases we are able to monitor the menstrual cycle. Next is menorrhagia. What happens in menorrhagia? It is also called as hypermenorrhea, and it is a cyclic bleeding at the normal interval, but it's so excessive that the volume is more than 80 ml, or in duration it is more, that is more than 7 days. So this will be in the cases of menorrhagia, and this prolonged bleeding is termed as menotaxis. So menorrhagia we can also correlate with hypermenorrhea and menotaxis. Then next is menometorrhagia. So menometorrhagia, what happened? There will be irregular and excessive bleeding during or between the period. So what is the difference between metorrhagia and menometorrhagia? What happened in menometorrhagia? We won't be able to monitor the cycle because of so much excessive bleeding, but in metorrhagia we are able to monitor the cycle. Next is hypermenorrhea. What happened in hypermenorrhea? The bleeding will be very scanty, means volume will be very less irrespective of days, that is will be less than 2 days, or either in the volume will be less than 20 cc. Then is polymenorrhea, or also called as epimenorrhea. In this what happens? The cycle will be more frequent, like they will be coming in 15 to 20 days, that is it is shorter than 3 weeks. Then next is oligomenorrhea. Now what happened in oligomenorrhea? The frequency of cycle has been reduced, so the cycle length will be more, it will be coming in the 6 or 7 weeks, means 1.5 month, 2 month or 3 month the patient will be getting the cycle. So these are main kind of menstrual abnormalities which we see in a clinical OPD. Then next is the what are the common causes of this abnormal uterine bleeding in different epoch of a female life. So different epoch means different age groups, like प्री-प्यूबर्टी. व्हाट इज़ प्री-प्यूबर्टी नाम? प्री-प्यूबर्टी इज़ कि नॉर्मली जो प्यूबर्टी का टाइम पीरियड होता है, दैट इज़ नॉर्मली 10 to 12 ईयर्स में जो प्यूबर्टी साइन सिम्टम्स दिखते हैं, उससे बहुत पहले अगर हमारे प्यूबर्टी के सिम्टम्स दिख रहे हैं, दैट इज़ कि अगर एज ऑफ 5, 6 और 7 में इफ़ यू आर सीइंग द प्यूबर्टी साइंस लाइक ब्रेस्ट enlargement, this menstrual cycle onset or pubic hair, that is considered as प्रिकॉशियस प्यूबर्टी एंड प्री प्यूबर्टी. तो इसमें ये एबनॉर्मल यूट्राइन ब्लीडिंग मेनली किसके कारण होगा? बिकॉज ऑफ एनी ऑफ द हार्मोनल डिस्फंक्शन इन हाइपोथैलेमिक हार्मोन, पिट्यूटरी हार्मोन और ओवरियन हार्मोन्स में किसी भी के कारण के डिस्टर्बेंस के कारण ये इसमें AUP होगा. एंड मेनली हियर दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ हाइपर सिक्रीशंस ऑफ हार्मोन फ्रॉम एनी ऑफ दिस 3 सोर्सेज. Then next is adolescence. Adolescence का टाइम पीरियड है, वी नो इट इज़ फ्रॉम 10 to 19 ईयर्स ऑफ एज. तो इस टाइम पीरियड में जो AUP होता है उसके मेनली जो पॉजिटिव फैक्टर्स है, दैट इज एनोवुलेटरी साइकिल और कोगुलेशन डिसऑर्डर. द नेक्स्ट इज रिप्रोडक्टिव एज, दैट इज 16 ईयर्स to 40 ईयर्स. अब इस टाइम पीरियड में जो आपके AUP के पॉजिटिव फैक्टर्स होंगे वो मेनली क्या होंगे? either because of any complications of pregnancy or any organic reasons are there. So complications of pregnancies like abortion, ectopic pregnancy or any trophoblastic diseases like vascular pregnancy, and organic lesions like leiomyomas, adenomyosis or polyps or endometrial hyperplasia or any kinds of carcinomas are there. We know what is adenomyosis. Adenomyosis is when there is extra growth of endometrium in myometrium. So this is organic lesions mainly. Then in reproductive age we may also find because of dysfunctional uterine bleeding. There is a very slight difference between AUP and DUP which we will discuss in next slide. तो DUP में mainly anovulatory cycle और ovulatory cycle के कारण होता है. Then next is perimenopausal. Perimenopausal is what? Perimenopausal is time period before the menopause. तो इसमें कौन से एज ग्रुप आएंगे आपके? 40 to 50 ईयर्स के गैप के जो पेशेंट्स है, दैट इज मेनली पेरीमिनोपॉजल. एंड उसमें मेन कॉजिंग एजेंट क्या होता है, कॉजिंग फैक्टर क्या होता है? वन इज DUP एंड स्पेशली दैट इज एनोवुलेटरी साइकिल विच विल डिस्कस फर्दर इन नेक्स्ट स्लाइड्स. Then next is organic lesions are there like hyperplasia, polyps or carcinoma. Then postmenopausal, that will be 50 years onward. इसमें mainly the causal factor will be either because of endometrial atrophy or organic lesions which we had discussed earlier. The carcinomas or malignancies will be there. So now coming to what we mean by DUP. Actually, DUP is a type of AUP, and the main difference is that there won't be any cause behind there. If there is no specific cause, we consider it as DUP. So it is a state of abnormal uterine bleeding without any clinically detectable organic, systemic and iatrogenic causes. By iatrogenic we know what? कि iatrogenic है कि whenever some pathy or therapy is given, and after that in response to that, if this AUP or TUP occur, which may be mainly in the cases of side effect of that therapy. So TUP is defined as abnormal uterine bleeding with no demonstrative organic cause, which we had discussed right now, and it is the most common cause of AUP. In AUP, almost 70 to 80% patients will be of TUB, and it is of two types. One is anovulatory and another is ovulatory. So 90% cases will be of anovulatory and 10% will be of ovulatory. So what does we mean by anovulatory or ovulatory? Anovulatory means where ovulation is not occurring, but yet there is some disturbance in menstrual cycle. Ovulation is not occurring, yet the menstruation is occurring or the bleeding from the uterus is occurring, and that is anovulatory. And in ovulatory what happens? The ovulation is occurring and post ovulation menstruation is occurring, but there is some irregularity. So this is main understanding is what is the anovulatory cycle and what is the ovulatory cycle. Now coming to the next key, what are the associated with the ovary cycle, means when ovulation is occurring, and still what are the causes because of which AUP is occurring, because if we see the cause then we consider it as AUP only. So there are basically two causes, one is ऑर्गेनिक कॉज अनदर इज फॉरेन कॉज. ऑर्गेनिक कॉजेज में आएंगे आपके मेनली कि सिस्टमेटिक एटियोलॉजी जो सिस्टमेटिक डिजीज़ है इसमें मेनली कोकुलोपैथिक डिफेक्ट्स आएंगे आपके लाइक ल्यूकेमिया और आईटीपी. देन नेक्स्ट इज रिप्रोडक्टिव ट्रैक्ट डिजीजेस. इसमें कौन से आएंगे मेनली आपके जेस्टेशनल इवेंट्स में जो प्रॉब्लम्स हो रही हैं वो, या मैलिग्नेंसीज या बिनाइन ग्रोथ है कोई भी आपके रिप्रोडक्टिव ट्रैक्ट में. सो जेस्टेशनल इवेंट्स में वी हैड ऑलरेडी डिस्कस लाइक अबॉर्शन, एक्टोपिक प्रेगनेंसी और ट्रोपोप्लास्टिक डिजीजेस इफ देयर आर. देन मैलिग्नेंसी कहीं पे भी एंडोमेट्रियम में, ओवरी में, सर्वाइकल में और वजाइना में किसी भी तरह की मैलिग्नेंसी है दैट विल कॉज द AUP, बट इसमें ओवुलेशन हो रहा होगा इनमें नॉर्मली. देन बिनाइन ग्रोथ्स हैं, किसी भी तरह के पॉलिप्स है या सर्वाइकल लीजन्स है. देन इट्रोजेनिक में क्या होगा? इट विल बी इन द रिस्पॉन्स ऑफ द एनी काइंड ऑफ थेरेपी एज वी डिस्कस्ड अर्लियर. तो इंट्रायूट्राइन डिवाइस के इंसर्शंस के बाद में ये प्रॉब्लम मेनली हमें मिलती है. और ओरल एंड इंजेक्टेबल स्टीरॉइड्स, post oral and injectable steroids as used in contraceptive like methotrexate. Then is psychotropic drugs. If there are uses of psychotropic drugs, so in response to its side effect there might be AUP. Then coming to the next, now the associated with the anovulatory cycle, that was in the cases of ovulation. Now anovulation cycle में mainly, so this anovulatory cycle, anovulatory cycles में क्या क्या causative factors है, why it's happening. So mainly we had discussed that it happens in DUB cases, that is in 90% DUB is because of anovulatory cycle, means there is no ovulation is occurring. And why it happened? Mainly it is seen in the age of menarche and perimenopausal, that means when the menstruation first start and when menstruation is going to in a cessation phase, is going to stop. So what happen at that time period? There will be hormonal imbalance, that HPA axis is adapting to new changes. Like at the menarche it is going adapting to the new menstrual cycle, the onset has just started, and during the perimenopausal what happened? It is adapting to that cessation. So because of that fluctuations in the hormone there will be anovulation and will lead to the anovulatory cycles, means menstruation will come but it won't be following the ovulation. Then Less commonly it is seen into the cases of AUP. So AUP में इस anovulatory cycles में आपके cause होंगे. Causes like endocrine disorders will be there, such as thyroid diseases, adrenal diseases or pituitary tumors, which is causing this AUP. Then ovarian lesions are there, like functioning ovarian tumors or polycystic ovaries, because of which no ovulation is occurring, but yet the cycle is occurring and it is irregular. Or there is any generalized metabolic disturbance such as obesity, malnutrition or other chronic systemic diseases. This all we had discussed how this endocrine disorders or ovarian lesions or generalized metabolic disturbance affect the menstrual cycle in the amenorrhea classes. Okay, so next is anovulatory TUB. As we had discussed about this, that it is seen in 90% of cases. Now the thing of first question coming to your mind will be, जब ovulation ही नहीं हो रहा तो how the menstruation is coming, how there is this shading of endometrium or how the blood is coming from the uterus, because you know the normal physiology, estrogen progesterone will work, then only this will happen. So estrogen progesterone works, then only the shading of endometrium will happen. Okay, but so ovulation नहीं हो रहा तो progesterones नहीं होंगे, but estrogen is there. Okay, so what happen in an anovulatory cycle, there is continuous estrogen production without forming the corpus luteum, hence the progesterone production will be very less. Means progesterone बहुत कम होंगे और estrogen आपके बहुत continuously secrete होने के कारण ज़्यादा होंगे, excess amount में होंगे. So this give rise to the continuous proliferatory endometrium. As we know, what the estrogen do, they form the proliferatory changes into the endometrium. And now what happened, because of this continuously proliferatory endometrium, it will outgrow its blood supply or it will lose the nutrition with varying degree of necrosis. So outgrow its blood supply, what will happen? Sorry, I forgot to move the slide. So here this is we are talking about. So outflow of the blood supply means there may be mainly hypermenorrhea or excessive bleeding, but in the loss of nutrition what will happen, there will be mainly oligomenorrhea or hypomenorrhea. Then main cause, as we know here, is HPO, a hormonal axis imbalance. Because of this anovulatory DUP happen, and now here we talk about the how it is working. Then coming to the next is, now if there is ovulation is occurring, then how this TUB is occurring. Now what happen in ovulation, the progesterone secretion is prolonged. जितने टाइम तक आपका प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन होना चाहिए उससे ज़्यादा प्रोजेस्ट्रॉन सिक्रीट हो रहा है, ज़्यादा टाइम तक हो रहा है, and estrogen levels will be very low, estrogen's level will be decreased. So this will cause irregular shading of the uterine lining and breakthrough bleeding. Because of excessive secretion of prolonged progesterone, what will happen, it will cause the more secretory hypertrophy of the endometrium. So because of that hypertrophy of endometrium, there will be this irregular shading of the uterine lining and breakthrough bleeding. So this was about how the in anovulation and ovulation how the TUB or AUP is getting affected. Then next is the management line, how we treat the patient or how we come for the diagnosis of the AUP and DUP. So first we have to focus on taking the proper history, like from that only we will be able to find what is the source of bleeding, whether it is vagina, urethra or rectum. So according to that only we will be able to treat. Then next we have to assess the excessive bleeding. How we can assess? We can assess by asking the number of pads used or asking the clot size or duration of bleeding, for how many days they are bleeding. Next is following the pattern of bleeding, because mainly this pattern of bleeding also help us in diagnosis, like if it is periodic and non-predictable and irregular bleeding. If it is like that, that means mainly it is because of the ovulatory dysfunction that is secondary to PCOS or because of perimenopausal anovulation. Then next is, if it is intermenstrual bleeding, like anatomical sources might be there, like any benign growth like submucous fibrite or uterine polyp is there. And if there is always very heavy bleeding, that this is mainly because of any coagulopathy might be there. Then next is assessing the blood loss by admitting the patient during the period time, during the menstruating days. Then next is seeing if the patient need any psychological counseling, like especially if the patients are emotionally upset or if they have any psychosexual problems. and this we mainly find it in the cases of menarche and perimenopausal. So this is needed to be handled with a lot of empathy and with lot of consideration. Then next is taking the history of any use of contraceptives or IUCD insertion. As we know, in the iatrogenic causes, they may cause the AUP because of this uses of contraceptives. Then next is finding if there is any history of abnormal bleeding from the any injury site, epistaxis or gum bleeding, or if there is any suggestion of the PID, then it should be inquired and confirmed, because that is the complication. AUB will be the complication of because of the excessive bleeding from any injury site or because of the PID also. What happen if there is injury sites, epistaxis, excessive blood loss is there from any other sources, that may lead to the anemia and may disturb the normal hematology of the body, hence causing the AUP. And PID also we know will affect the uterine wall and will cause this AUP. So this is about history taking, and next is how we can help see from the physical examination. So what in physical examination, how it will help us? So if we see the patient with the excessive weight gain, the first thing should come to our mind will be that patient might have the PCOS. So we also look for the sign of hirsutism and acne. Apart from excessive weight gain, even if the patient is lean and having hirsutism and acne, then patient might have PCOS. Then next is seeing and for any sign of thyroid diseases or evidence of insulin resistance, which is also very common in excessive weight gain. Then in any kind of suspected bleeding disorder, means in the coagulopathy disorders, mainly we see for the signs of petechia or ecchymosis, or if the skin is pallor, or if swollen joints are there. Or in cases of thrombocytopenic purpura, where we have doubt on that, we do the tourniquet test also to come for the final conclusion or diagnosis. Then pelvic examination, that we do the bimanu examination and per speculum examination, both to see the size of the uterus and the contour of the uterus, and also the ovaries or fornix. Bilateral fornixes also we will examine. Although we can't examine the ovaries through it, but if there is any kind of fullness in the or tenderness in the fornixes, left or right fornix, then we can suspect that there might be some kind of benign growths in the ovary. So this is about the physical examination. Then next is lab investigation. Lab investigation mein first thing we have to see when we get the patient of AUP or DUP, if they are falling into the reproductive life, then we have to first rule out the pregnancy, and that we can do by doing the urine sensitive pregnancy test with the or doing the serum HCG test. Then next is seeing the complete blood count in the cases of the patient who are anemic. Then bleeding time, platelet counts, prothrombin times, and all this is needed to be to check the any kind of coagulopathies are there. And hormonal assays like TSH's test are done mainly. Then sonography, Doppler sonography, if we want more specific specific diagnosis, or hysteroscopy, MRIs are done if we are doubting any kind of, or we doubting any kind of tumor growth or any kind of carcinoma growth, and endometrial biopsy to rule out if there is endometrial hyperplasia or endometrial cancer is there. So these are the lab investigations. This lab investigations which I had talked about. Okay. Then next is how to treat the patient, like what is the general treatment line, what is the medical treatment line, or surgical intervention for the patient. Like whenever we're talking, we first make the diagnosis, now we have to come to the treatment. Then when we come to the treatment, we have to evaluate whether this patient can be treated generally, or this patient need a medical treatment, means any kind of drugs are needed to give to the patient, or the patient need a surgical intervention. So how we come to this conclusion, how we come weightage and come ki what the patient needs. So first, general what we do, we advise the patient is bed rest, strictly bed rest we advise, and assure them if any systemic sympathetic handling and helpful particularly in the cases of adolescence. So in cases of adolescence, especially at the menarche time period, they need a lot of assurance and sympathy. Then if we see the patient is getting anemia because of AUP, then you need to correct that energetically by giving a healthy diet, hematinics, and even by blood transfusion if needed. So this is the general treatment which we give. Then next is medical treatment. Medical treatment में mainly two kind of treatment we give. One is just giving a synthetic progesterone, or another is giving the estrogen progesterone combinations both. So in drug therapy, when we are giving only progesterone, which is very commonly uses, is mainly is synthetic progesterone, that is norethistérone or metroxyprogesterone is highly used clinically. So what happens? These are anti-estrogenic actions. They have the anti-estrogenic actions, and they are mainly given for the cyclic therapy or continuing the therapy. So what happens? Mainly if the patient come with a complaint of TUP or AUP, so first we give the doses of 5 mg thrice a day to stop the bleeding, which will take normally 3 to 7 days. So up to 3 to 7 days we give this dose, that is 5 mg thrice a day, and afterwards we reduce the dose for 15 to 20 days. So depending on initially how much days we have given. So once we stop, till this time period cycle will be stopped, and once we stop the medication, cycle will again come back, and in this way the cycle will be maintained of 21 days at least. So this is about why we give the progesterone. Main thing to be remember where we are giving the progesterone. Progesterone or synthetic progesterone drugs mainly we give where there is disturbance in mid cycle, means during the secretory phase where the progesterone levels get disturbed. So during the secretory phase, if the disturbance is coming, then only we give mainly progesterone pills. Then next is cyclic therapy. In cyclic therapy, mainly estrogen and progesterone both are given, and that is given for the irregular cycle to maintain its cycle. Like we also called it as cycle regulator. So whenever we are giving cycle regulators, we give mainly estrogen progesterone combination pills, and we give it at least for 3 consecutive cycles starting from the 5th day and continuing it up to the 25th day of the cycle. So how it works? First thing, it causes the endometrial atrophy. So this is very helpful in the cases of endometritis or endometriosis. Second is it suppresses the hypothalamus pituitary axis. Because of this, it is helpful in the PCOD also, where there is extra follicles or extra cyst in the ovaries. The next is normal menstruation is expected to resume with restoration of normally functioning pituitary and ovarian endometrial axis. So this is the benefit of giving the estrogen and progesterone combination, कि once we stop, normally it happens that menstruation will come to the regular phase. Then coming to surgical management of TUP or AUP. So surgical management mainly is uterine curettage we use, or hysterectomy or endometrial ablation is used. So what is uterine curettage, why we are using an hysterectomy and endometrial ablation? So uterine curettage mainly we do in a very elderly women, and it is mainly done to maintain the hemostatic or therapeutic effect by removing the necrosed and unhealthy endometrium. So what we do, first we have to come to the final diagnosis by the help of ultrasonography for detecting if there is any endometrium pathology is there. Only if endometrial pathology is involved, then only we do the uterine curettage. And then one thing more to remember is that it is indication if urgency is there. If any kind of urgency is there, then only without sonography we can do it. And when it is like that cases are there, if the bleeding is cyclic and where endometrium pathology is suspected, ideally hysteroscopy should be direct and biopsy should be considered both for the purpose of diagnosis and therapy. But also we can do it in after, if no urgency is there, then first we have to do the sonography. But if very excessive bleeding is there and we have a clear picture that endometrial pathology might be there, then we can do direct uterine curettage also. Then next is hysterectomy. Now what happened in hysterectomy? First is hysterectomy we will only choose to do when the conservative treatment failed, like if medicine treatment has been failed, or if it is contraindicated, this curettage or any medical treatment is contraindicated or it had failed, then only we will choose the hysterectomy. Or if the blood loss, like AUP and DUP is causing so much blood loss that there is impairing the health and the quality of the life of the female, then we have to immediately, or we say we do the emergency hysterectomy also in those cases. Or it may be elective also, planned also after coming to a final diagnosis. Then one thing or more to remember is it is only done if there is presence of endometrial hyperplasia or in any kind of atypia on endometrial histology, which is an indication for the hysterectomy. So if there is any kind of hyperplasia or atypia cell growth in the endometrium, which we can come to know about this atypia endometrium growth by the help of the pap smears. So if there is something like this, then only hysterectomy will be done. And hysterectomy is mainly opted for the elderly patients or the patient approaching the 40 years, that reproductive age should be finished, then only we should opt the hysterectomy ideally. And whenever we are doing hysterectomy for the ladies which have age limit less than 45, means patients who are young, not so young, but before the 45 years of age, if we are doing hysterectomy for anyone, then we will always try to preserve the ovaries. Okay. The next is endometrial ablation. Now what happened in endometrial ablation is the removal of whole endometrium. In curettage we had just curate the hypergrowth of the endometrium, and in hysterectomy we are removing the uterus, but in endometrial ablation we are removing the whole endometrium. And what happened, however, this endometrial hyperplasia must be ruled out first by the biopsy. So this biopsy how we can take? With the help of curettage only. We can take the biopsy sample, we can take the sample and we can send it for the biopsy, that is histopath examination, and then if we see it is needed, then we do the endometrial ablation. So these are the next slides talking about what I had just discussed. Okay. Then next is coming to Ayurved approach. सो इसकी आयुर्वेद में हम इसको किससे कोरिलेट करेंगे, और व्हाट आयुर्वेद साइंस और आचार्यस हैज टॉक अबाउट दिस AUP and DUP at that time period. So in Ayurveda we consider it with Artava Vyapata. What does Artava Vyapata means? Artava we know is, we use this term for menstruation, and Vyapata is any kind of disorders. So any kind of disorders in the Artha, in the menstruation will be compared with AUP and DUP. And Acharya, where the Acharya has talked about it, Shushruta Sharirsthan second chapter, Acharya Shushruta had talked about it, and Acharya Vakpat had talked about in Ashtang Sharirsthan first chapter. So Ashtang Sharirsthan first chapter will be talking about Artava Vyapata, Shushruta Sharirsthan second chapter is talking about Artava Vyapata, and Charak Chikitsasthan 30 means Acharya Charak has talked about Artava Vyapata in Chikitsasthan 30th chapter. Then what they had told mainly, they had considered Ashta Artava Tushti, that means Ashta 8. Artava menstruation tushti is Vishesha. So there are any kind of Visheshana in Artava which are in 8 types and causing 8 types of diseases. So what are these? This shlok as said by Shushruta Sharirsthan second clear it. That says Vata Pitta Shleshma Kunupukrantihi Putupuhe Sheen Mood Purisha Retasa Pracho Utpatane Na Samarthaha Bhavanti. That means that this 8 disorder, that is Vata Pitta Shleshma Kunupukranti Putipuhe Sheen Mood Purisha Retasa, will, what they will do, they will cause the problem in the progeny. Means pracho utpatane na samartha bhavanti, means it will make the person incapable of producing the progeny. Means that progeny, even if conceived, first is it will make it infertile, it will make it fail to conceive, or even if it conceive, it will abort. So this is, they are talking about the E type of disorders of menstruation also. Along with that, what is the consequence? So what is 8 types? First is Vata, because of the Visheshan of a Vatos. Another is Pitta, because of Visheshan of a Pittos. Next is Sleshma because of the vitiation of a cuff tooth. Next is Kunup. Kunup is because of the vitiation of a duct, and what happened in this, there will be the smelly menstruation, and that smell will be resembling like a dead body. So whenever menstruation blood is having a smell of a dead body, that is because of the vitiation of a rakta dosha. Then next is Kranti. Kranti is because of Vata and Kapha, those vitiation. Then next is Puti Pua, which is because of the vitiation of Pitta and Kapha vitiation. Then next is Sheena. Sheena Artava Vyapat is because of Vata and Pitta vitiation. And Mood Puris Retasa is because of vitiation of all the three doshas, that is Vata, Pitta, Kapha and Kapha. So one thing to be remember when we talk about this 8 Vyapata of Artava, the thing which are satya and which are asatya, means which can be curable and which are incurable. So all the acharyas has talked about it, and they told that vata, pitta and sleshma are curable, we can easily treat them, but rest 5 are uncurable. All these 5, whether the involvement of two doshas are there or involvement of 3 doshas are there, these are uncurable, not curable one. Okay. Then next is, so this is the art Artava Tushtis which we are comparing with the modern science or with the modern diseases. So Vatacha Artava Tushti, according to Vatacha Artava Acharyas, what happened in Vatacha Artava Tushti we know. Because of Vatacha there will be decrease in the blood flow, and because of what there will be pricking pain. So this we can compare it with oligomenorrhea, and because of that pain during the menstruation we compare it with dysmenorrhea. The next is Pittacha Artava Tushti. In Pittacha, which are the main symptoms we see here, like burning sensation will be there, or excessive heat will be there, temperature will be raised. So this we mainly find in the cases of chronic pelvic diseases. So chronic pelvic diseases or PITs, we can compare it with Pittacha Artava Tushti. The next is Kaphacha Artava Tushti. What we find mainly in Kaphacha Artava Tushti, where the Kapha tosh get vitiated, mainly the blood will be very slippery or greasy or will be in clotted form. So this we form in we get mainly in the chronic endometritis cases of endocervicitis or cervicitis associated with oligomenorrhea. Because it is a kaphacha, the blood will be also be decreased in the quantity. Might be. So next is Kunup Kranti or Raktacha Artava Tushti. What happened in this? As we had talked about, that the blood will be having the smell of a dead body. This kind of symptom we find mainly into the endometrial carcinoma. The early stages of endometrial carcinoma can be identified with this clinical feature only, and we compare it with Kunup Kranti or Raktacha Artava Tushti. Next is Kranti Puta Artava Tushti. In this, what happened? Kranti Puta Artava Tushti, we know this will be because of the vitiation of Vata and Kapha dosh. So we know both Vata and Kapha dosh symptoms will be involved here. Like it may be oligomenorrhea will be there, severe pain will be there, clots will be there, or very greasy or slippery blood will be there, which is secreting from the uterus. So this kind of symptoms we find in the malignant disorders of reproductive system, especially in the cases of cervical carcinoma. Next is Putipua Artava Tushti, which we know is because of the vitiation of a Pitta dosh and Kapha dosh. So because of this, what happened? There will be this can be correlated with the acute infection of reproductive system, and which we compare with pyometra. Because of this, what Pitta and Kapha, there will be this burning sensation, heat, and because of the Pitta involvement and Kapha involvement, the pus will also be there. So this all we find in the cases of pyometra. Then next is Sheena Artava Tushti. In Sheena Artava Tushti, we know Sheena Artava Tushti is mainly because of the Vata and Pitta dosh involvement. So there will be this decrease in the blood flow, that means oligomenorrhea will be there, which is mainly because of hypoestrogenic condition, or nutrition deficiency might also be involved there. So in mainly in Vatacha Artavatushti and Sheena Artavatushti, what is the difference? In both oligomenorrhea is there. But what happened in Vatacha Artavatushti, pain will be there. In Sheena Artavatushti, pain won't be there. Or even if the pain is there, it won't be so much. It won't be that much problematic. Then next is Mutra Mutra Purisha Kranti Artavatushti. That means the Artava coming here will have the vitiation of all the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and will have a smell of urine or feces. Because, and we know where we see this kind of symptoms are mainly seen in the cervical carcinoma, especially in the third or fourth stage. We see the blood coming out having the smell of urine or feces, and that also might be because of the fistulas involving these pathways. So this is all about the 8 Artavatushti and their comparison with the modern science. Then, or modern diseases. Then one more thing in short we will discuss here is about Asrikthar or Prathar. What is Asrikthar or Prathar? Asrikthar and Prathar is mainly compared to menometorrhagia, hypermenorrhea or menorrhagia. Because Asrikthar and Prathar, in this case what happened, there will be excessive secretion of the mensurating blood. So what is the pathology or what is the samprapti for this? If there is any kind of apatya ahar or vihara is taken, so this will cause the increase of vata which will mix up with rakta, and hence it will go, this increased vitiated vata mixed with rakta will go into the blood vessels of ovary and uterus, and there it covered themselves with pitta and hence increase the amount of blood flow. So this is basically of 4 types: Vatacha, Pittacha, Kaphacha, Sanipatacha.